Good. Okay, I'll be demonstrating you on the coagulation procedure, things that you'll be needing. This is your reagents that you'll be using. For PT, you'll be using thromborel. Okay, for thromborel, it comes in powdered forms. You'll have to constitute it in distilled water using 10 mils of distilled water. So as you can see on the vial, it's written 10 mils. Add 10 mils of distilled water, and then you prepare your thromborel. For APTT testing, you'll need actin-FS and calcium chloride. As well as for any test, you'll need your control, and we have our patient's sample. We have our pipette tips, a 200 microliter pipette, a 100 microliter pipette, and a timer. Okay, so I'll be demonstrating you on the procedure for PT. So in this water bath, I have already placed thromborel, constituted thromborel. So I'll be demonstrating on the PT test. So for a PT test, you'll need two test tubes. This test is done in duplicates. So this is just for test, and if for any test you need to do your control, so you'll need another two extra tubes for your control. The procedure remains the same. I'll just demonstrate on the test. So for a PT test, you'll need 4 tubes, 2 for your control, 2 for your test. So the sample and the control volume is the same. So what you'll need is 100 microliter pipette. Dispense 100 microliter pipette from your coagulation test tube. Okay, this is the patient sample. So dispense 100 microliters into each tube. So that's 100 in the first tube, 100 in the second tube. You'll have your 2 tubes for your control. You'll be dispensing your 100 microliters of controls in those tubes as well. Once you have dispensed your sample and your controls, you'll start your timer for 1 to 3 minutes. Once your 3 minutes is up, then you'll start testing. So my 3 minutes is up. I'll take 200 microliters pipette. I'll dispense 200 microliters of your thromborel reagent. Take 200 microliters of your thromborel reagent. As soon as you add your thromborel reagent, you will start your timer. As soon as the thromborel reagent goes, you'll start your timer. Take your test tube and then immerse in the water bath, and then you'll be looking for gel. You'll stop once you see a gel forming on the test tube. So you see a gel forming on the test tube. Once you see a gel, solid gel forming on the test tube, you'll start your timer and you'll note down your time. Okay, you'll do the same for your other test tube, your duplicate. So reset your timer. Again, dispense 200 microliters of your thromborel reagent. As soon as you add your reagent, you start your timer. Again, into the water bath, look for the clot. As soon as you see the clot, you stop your timer, and then what you do is you take the average of both the times. The first test that you do and the second, that will be your result for your patients. You'll do the same for your PT, for your control. The 2 test tubes, you'll dispense 100 microliters of control in each respective tubes. Put after your 1 to 3 minutes of incubation, dispense 200 microliters into the first tube. Look for the gel formation. As soon as you see the gel formation, you stop your time, and then you take the average for your PT. So that is on the PT testing. Now I'll show you how to do for APTT. Similarly, this test is done in duplicates. So you'll need 2 test tubes for your sample and another 2 test tubes for your control. The procedure remains the same, except for in the sample test tubes you'll be placing your sample, and in the control test tubes you'll be placing your control. So similarly, you'll be placing 100 microliters of your patient's samples in the 2 test tubes. 100 goes here, another 100 goes here, and in the 2 test tubes for your control, you'll be placing 100 microliters of your control sample into the test tube and incubating it for 1 to 3 minutes. So you'll start your timer once it's 1 to 3 minutes, then you start off with your processing. So my 3 minutes is up. So in this first test tube, I have the actin FS reagent, and in the second test tube, I have my calcium chloride reagent. Okay. So once my 3 minutes is up for the incubation, I'll take 100 microliters of the patient's of the actin FS reagent and add in the first test tube. Take 100 microliters of my actin FS, place it into the second test tube, and then I'll start off my timer and leave that for another 1 to 3 minutes. Once my 1 to 3 minutes is up, I'll be testing using the calcium chloride. So my 3 minutes is up. Now I'll be testing the APTT test for the patient sample. So again, I'll take 100 microliters of sample, calcium chloride. So this is the calcium chloride tube. So I'll dispense 100 microliters of calcium chloride, and as soon as I put my calcium chloride, I'll start off my timer. So as soon as I put my calcium chloride, I'll start off my timer. Again, in the water path, up. In the water path, up. You'll be looking for a fibrin clot, a white fibrin mesh clot. Once you see your fibrin clot, you'll stop your timer. So a fibrin clot appears, you'll stop your timer, and then you'll move on to the next test. So take another, dispense 100 microliters of sample into the test tube, your second test tube for your sample, again in the water path. Pick it up, inside, immerse it inside, look for the fibrin mesh clot, inside a white fibrin clot. Once you see the fibrin clot, you stop your timer, and then you take the average of the result, and that will be your APTT test. So that's all on the coagulation procedure.